Mr.
Charlie,
Ross Davenport.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Or Davenport. You have something on your forehead.
I know. I'm trying to sit back. I'm still trying to get this lighting thing right. If I sit too close, it just it puts a hole in my forehead. I already have a hole there. It's just a lack of hair hole. Yeah. So I'm trying to sit back a little bit and see if this thing works.
Hey, you sound very good, Ross. What's going on?
We do. Thanks to our sponsors, we do have new microphones today. I don't know if I sound any better. I'm sure I still sound nasally and high pitched as always, but hopefully we sound a little better thanks to our sponsors, especially 401kfl.com, who we'll get to in a little minute. Charlie, how was your weekend? You spent, I think, an entire day at Okapi.
I can't, it's like a blur of rugby nonstop. But let me tell you something about my microphone, because yes,
tell us.
Yours was because of the sponsor, but mine has a little backstory, which is nice, because after Pukey showed up with his pro mic on the show, I got a call next day from a friend of the show, and he said, "There is no way Pukey is going to have a better mic than you, so I'm going to give you a mic." I told him, "You should have seen his car, man, if you want to level things out." So we have better mics. Things are getting better. Thank you very much for my generous friend.
Yes, thanks to everybody that's helped out. Hopefully we don't talk as much as Pukey from using these microphones. So yeah, we'll get to all the Okapi action in a minute. Obviously, there was a ton of action, which we'll get to in Florida. England beat France, which was always nice. Stopped the French from winning the Grand Slam, and now we'll see if Wales can finish it off next week. I still haven't got to watch the highlights yet, but
is that a fact that the French cannot win?
Well, the French, yeah. I forget who they play next week. I'm so out of the loop because softball has taken over my life.
Don't they play Wales?
France play Wales next week, so that would have been for the Grand Slam if England had lost to France. But we managed to hold on at this beautiful stadium behind us for the win. But we got another.
Look who's pushing for our new sponsor, Valentina. Gracias, Valentina. She found her gold day hat and she's wearing it today to see if who will eventually.
What a lovely hat! Yeah, who didn't even play in the Trident's Boca game this weekend. So perhaps he was the difference in that game. He was busy doing something.
Maybe
he certainly wasn't busy. He certainly wasn't busy sending us a check or some swag to give away.
Valentina's joined Chris Vassell, so they're on the same page, pushing for the new sponsor, which we actually really need.
I'll believe it when I see it, but always good to see Valentina on my screen. Charlie's biggest fan and the biggest fan of the #1 Florida rugby podcast out there, because we're the only Florida rugby podcast. But we do have a great sponsor, which, as you can see in the corner of the screen there, is 401kfl.com. Thanks to Mick Graham, the head coach of the Brevard Red Eyes, who have won again this past weekend. We'll get to them in a little bit. But if you own a business or have a 401k or need a 401k, talk to Mick at 401kfl.com. They're at 401k Florida. Their business is to tackle your retirement needs and goals. Their team has the expertise in the field of retirement plans, both big and small. So if your retirement plan hasn't been reviewed in a while, consider a complimentary, that's free, Charlie, consultation by 401kfl. So visit 401kfl.com to kick things off. You can also call Mick at 321-610-3200. Massive thanks to Mick again for his support of this podcast and of rugbyfl.com.
You are also guaranteed a very nice rugby chat if you talk to the guy, because he's really a great guy.
He's very knowledgeable. And he's doing a great job in Brevard.
We were going to have him today, but apparently he wanted his president to, fill in for him. which we may have. He's not showing up yet, but hopefully we'll get Corky
Newman,
also
Florida
known
legend.
as, also known as Cornet.
Cornet, yes, as your autocorrect called him. As much as I love ice cream, I was very confused at who you were talking about, but I did figure it out in the end. But yeah, thanks to everybody who's helped out with the podcast. As I said, we got some nice new microphones. I hope we sound better. I don't know if we do, but hopefully somebody will tell us that we do. If you want to support the pod, rugbyfl.com/GoFundMe, or you can Venmo at rugbyfl or paypal.me/rugbyfl. Time for our quick We Effed Up segment. Charlie, we were supposed to have Randall Johnson on last week, who hopefully will be joining us tonight. He's a referee. He's also on the board of the Midwest, even though he lives in Florida at the moment.
Another very interesting guy. And that was my big screw up. I sent him the link. And as I usually do, like, for everything I do one like embarrassing thing. And I sent him the link to the studio from last week. So the guy was texting me, hey, I'm here. And it was like empty. And of course, he wasn't in the same room as we were. He was like next door. So hopefully we'll have him today. That was pretty embarrassing.
Well, hopefully he doesn't talk twice as much and bring everything up he was going to bring up. Although I don't think he reffed this past week. Actually, maybe he did. I think he's reffed every week. He's been healthy. But hopefully we'll have Randall on later if he's not too busy. But if you want to join the show, you can access the open mic at the end by going to rugbyfl.com/join. Grab yourself a pair of headphones so we're not hearing you echo. And we don't have any specific really topics, do we, Charlie? I think we talked about something we were going to talk about, but we'll get to that at the end. Open mic at the end always if you want to talk about anything you want to bring up in regards to Florida rugby. Let's get to our 3 quick things.
Yes. By the way, I couldn't prepare the title, so just go ahead.
That's fine. So I'm going to change the order because
it's also fine. Sarah
Barsoom, formerly now she used to play with the boys for Boca back before there was girls rugby in Florida. And then she got, obviously, when you get to that certain age, you've got to go play with the girls. She went to play with Boynton and now plays for Fort Miami. So she's still in high school and playing for a senior women's rugby team. And she is signed with Life University, which is great to see. So Sarah will be heading up to Marietta in the fall to play for Life. These other 2 things we just found out today, Charlie, right? You told me the Okapi U16s. Now, for those that don't know, the U16s division this year was a bit of a mess. There was only 3 teams. Right, Key Biscayne, Okapi, and Wellington, right?
2.5, actually.
2.5.
Wellington has a hard time fielding.
Yeah, Wellington's, a lot of these teams, because of the COVID numbers, have had to throw a lot of their U16s up in the U19s teams. So the Okapi 16s, I think their season is either over or it's close to being over, and they're going to go on tour. Charlie, did you ever go on a rugby tour when you were playing as a youngster?
Oh, of course. That is something that, and one of the reasons we wanted to mention this, it's not really a tour. It was actually.
It is. They're leaving their home state to go play rugby.
Right. But it was mostly with the intention of the guys getting some more games because, as you said, they pretty much just can play against, Key Biscayne and that's it, and Wellington. So, and they have a very good team. We're gonna have
we'll see some highlights later. There's some big boys and some quick boys on that team.
And they can play. They can play. So that's a very nice thing to do, which is a tradition in rugby in so many places, and it has so many good connotations of a team, especially I would any division, but for the young guys to have a end of the year trip. I think it's something that every team should be looking into doing. And there are Key Biscayne also they used to go to Bahamas.
Yes, Freeport used to be a big destination, and as well as Nassau. I know I went on a tour down to Costa Rica as well. I know some of the old boys have been down to Colombia and Dominican Republic, but the Okapi 16s are going to go on tour April 10th weekend. They're going to go up to Charlotte and play the Charlotte Tigers JV team up there. And then Aspertuck Rugby, the first I've ever heard of them was today, and they're from Connecticut. They're going to come down and also play. So it's going to be sort of a 3-team round robin. So that's great news for Okapi U16s. I think my first tour was as a U16. We went to Cornwall, which is the southwest corner of England, and played a few games down there. I also went on tour to Belgium and got my first concussion when I was 15, which I remember fondly. I don't remember much of the tour. Because of that concussion. But it's great to hear the Okapi boys are going to head up to North Carolina in a few weeks. Go ahead, Charlie.
No.
Last 3 quick things. I was looking some of the college stuff from this past weekend. There wasn't a whole lot, but I was looking at the Life women's schedule, and they're scheduled to play Orlando women this Saturday, which I didn't know was happening. I think that was a late addition.
Probably.
So interesting to see how Orlando do against Life women up there on Saturday. Obviously, Orlando, I think, leading the charge in the women's Florida division at the moment, along with Tampa. They play each other coming up soon, and will likely perhaps face each other in the championship game as well, unless Fort Miami or Jacksonville can force an upset in the semis. So some good news there. Obviously, we had the Six Nations, which was a nice little... Scotland got beat by Ireland, and England knocked off France. We won't talk about Italy because they're not worth talking about.
It's hard to keep up with rugby, Super Rugby, Six Nations, and everything with so much rugby going on here.
Well, Super Rugby, you don't have to worry about watching on TV here because it's not on TV. Yeah. It's hard to find unless you have a VPN. But what will be on TV, which you forgot to mention in our 3 quick things, Charlie, this weekend is MLR starting.
4 quick things, then.
Yeah, we'll talk about MLR real quick because MLR starts up this weekend. There's going to be some games on national TV on CBS Sports Network, as well as, I think, either Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but you can check out MLR.rugby for all those games. Do we have an MLR Miami update, Charlie? Yeah, no news on that. But hopefully soon. But yeah, check out the MLR games coming up this weekend. Obviously, I did some of the rugby ATL games last year as the color commentator, but the different company got the contract this year, so we'll see how they cope with all those games on opening week. I think they're going to announce a streaming service this week that everybody will be able to watch all the games.
That's pretty cool.
So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, wish them the best, of course. I can't remember the name of the company. They're based out of New York. But hopefully it's just a 1-year contract, and hopefully they do their job properly and get the contract again. But if they don't, the company that I work for, Vista WorldLink, will be ready to scoop it up next year, I'm sure. So MLR starting this week, but not in Miami, obviously, and not in Dallas either.
Not yet. I'm working on Pitbull, man.
The Miami Pitbulls.
Yeah.
I like the sound of it. All right. Let's get to the meat of the show, Charlie. We're always complaining about how we're short of refs.
Exactly.
And we had the second of 2 recent referee courses completed on Sunday. This one was in Gainesville. And we're going to talk to Pancho Lopez, who was part of the teaching staff at this course. I saw Roy Monk, our FRA president, and Kerry, our FRU president, commenting. They were both there on Sunday and commenting what a great course it was in the chat there. Let's bring Pancho in. He's outdoors in the garden. Repping his USA. Now, Pancho is most famous, of course, for being the father of Cisco Lopez, one of the best referees produced by Florida. But he's also a very capable ref himself. He doesn't get out there as much as we'd like him to. He's a busy man, but he's now got into the coaching side of things. So, Pancho, talk a little bit about how you got into this coaching side of things and why.
Well, I was just telling Roy on our ride up to Gainesville, that I started getting into the officiating side of rugby because I just saw that there was a need. I wanted to ref, and I just wanted to help out the rugby community. And would talk to everybody about, just trying to recruit people. Hey, you should come out and ref if you have time. You're in college. You can make a few bucks on the side.
Right.
That way you don't have to get a job, at the local gas station or whatever. Just come over and rugby ref. And then I started thinking, you know what, if I can certify myself as a coach, if I can certify myself as an educator, then my thought back then was I can be a one-man show, right? I can recruit my guys, I can give them the course, and then I can come out and support them at their assigned games. So that was my idea probably about 6 years ago, more or less 6 or 7 years ago, when we had another crowd of referees back then. We have a lot of new referees coming in, thank God, that we always need new blood, and we need the support of the older referees to hang out and mentor the new ones. So that's why I was trying to do a little bit of everything, right? I've never had goals to be a much better ref or a great coach, or I just wanted to help out the rugby community. That back then when I was collaborating with Charlie with kids rugby, and a lot of these little rugby clubs with kids were sprouting all over South Florida. So we just wanted to be able to service all the kids, but still not forget about the college guys, the women, the men, and so on. So just trying to help out, really. I still looking forward to people saying, hey, you know what? I owe something to the game. This is part of the rugby spirit, and I want to cooperate with the rugby community and get involved somehow, coach at the local club, come out and ref. If you're an older referee, you want to come out and mentor a younger referee, make sure you contact us. Just help out the community,
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about this course this weekend. How many do we have there, and where were they from? And
we had 8 participants, plus Carrie, the Queen of Rugby Union.
Yes, there she is in the orange there.
In the orange there. She's obviously been certified for a few years, but she hasn't refereed, so she came out to refresh her knowledge of the rugby laws. And FRU sends out kind of like a questionnaire. They ask people, are you interested in taking the course? And depending on where you get the most responses, that's where we want to have the course, right? If a lot of people in South Florida want to take the course, then we'll probably host it here. So this time around, we had a lot of people up north, and so they decided to go with Gainesville. We actually had 6 participants from the Tampa area.
Oh, nice. We need refs there.
They were all from the crew, ladies and men rugby.
Excellent.
We had one from Jacksonville and a local young lady from UF. Today's rugby course is much different than when we took it. We used to just sit there in front of Jerry Fitzgerald and Terry Day telling us, the APTs and the X, Y, and Zs of the rugby laws, But today the course has become very hands-on. We do mostly just an introduction indoors, and then we go outside. Look at that guy, man.
Look at that handsome devil.
That's back when I used to have hair. And so today's hands-on. We want to give everybody a chance to get a lot of practice before they head out to a field and do it for the first time. We want them to ask questions and have this more live presence. Oh, look at how cute.
That was Cisco.
Who is that? Is that Cisco? And that's all I need. Cisco and the ladybug. So, terrific course. It was very nice, sunny, and toasty yesterday. So everybody got sunburned except for me, of course. Great courses. I wish more people would take them. Don't be shy. We have a lot of concerns. A lot of people don't want to pick up the whistle. They're afraid of referee abuse. They're sometimes a little timid, But we're not going to.
Ancho, let me ask you a question before I forget, because you mentioned referee abuse. How do you talk to these new candidates about that topic? Because it's probably one of the things that holds a lot of people back. Just thinking and stepping into a field and get insulted nonstop.
A lot of people, they just don't want to have to live through that. So they're just like, that's not my thing. We've gotten a lot of referees that get certified. They're really energetic about coming out and joining the referee corps. And then they do a couple of games and they're like, you know what? I didn't appreciate that. So I'm going.
What do you suggest to them? What do you suggest to them? Because you're pretty good. I think you're pretty good at that. In that sense, you have.
I'm okay. There's better people than I. I'm not as tolerant as other people. Like Ross is quite tolerant. Cisco's very tolerant. Kaylee. I really believe that the more tolerant you are, the better you can become as a referee. You can service people better. I just talk to people. Look, I'm just trying to help out. I'm trying to do a job here. I'm not being biased. I'm trying to call what I see. I'm trying to do the best job I can. So people respond good to me when I do that, right? I've never really had a game where the abuse was so bad that I had to kick somebody out of the field or cancel a game. But some other people do. I've never had a bad fight, so I'm pretty lucky in that sense. But basically, we want our referees to go through a process of paying attention to certain things and take care of them. The first thing we want to do is to talk to the captain, to control his players, control his coach or his sideline, talk to them. Maybe they respond better to the captain. Yep. Second step is if that doesn't happen, then we take it into our own hands to talk to the coach and ask him to leave, and then refer them to the rugby union. I never see a need for all of that, but sometimes it happens. I just hope everybody has good sportsmanship and deal with the fact that our sport is a hard sport and there's a lot of passion in the sport, and it's just the way it is. There's no need to be nasty. Just take it in stride and play the game.
Which is the worst team? You can say it. You can
just say it. Don't say it. Listen,
I'm not gonna say it. Everybody, listen. We've seen some teams that have poor sportsmanship, but they work hard on it and they come back and they do a lot better. And that's what we want to see. I would like to see the clubs taking matters into their own hand and identifying their players or public that can, have better attitude on the field. And I don't believe we should take care of it. I would like the president of the club to deal with them and let everybody be happy. It's all about playing rugby.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Listen, one of the big things in this sport is the respect that's given between the two sides and also between the two sides and the referee. And I think the sideline, unless you're a referee yourself, I shouldn't hear you complaining about calls being made on the field, especially 50-50 calls. We make mistakes just like the players knock the ball on. So
people will complain about the referee no matter what. Okay?
Yes.
No matter what. You can bring Nigel Owens, and then you're gonna have a guy with a list of things. Minute 34, he missed this.
You keep emailing him every week, trying to get him to come over here.
Yeah, well, he's coming. We're gonna get him. We'll have Pancho on. No, maybe Cisco. Better. We'll have Cisco. Screw Pancho.
Pancho, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I appreciate you going up to Gainesville with Roy and doing that course. I mean, listen, if we get 2 or 3 full-time referees from that group, heading into next year, that'd be great. But, obviously, we also need part-time referees as well, especially for the younger crew. And if you're not ready to referee quite yet, you can always go take the course and just learn on the laws. So you sound a lot smarter on the sidelines when you are yelling at me. So
I'm sorry, I missed all the comments.
Oh, come on, Charlie. Is Kerry there? Yeah, runs of line. Listen, that's how I'm still able to ref at my age and my slow pace. If I didn't have good running lines, I'd be 50 meters behind every time.
I wanted to pay attention to my friend Pancho. If not, he gets pissed off and then he'll be a little.
No, it's great to see Pancho helping out and giving back to the. Listen, if you want to get involved,
remember.
Yeah, if you want to get involved, roy687@hotmail.com is our president's email. You can get involved. You can email him and ask to perhaps have a course down here in South Florida. We haven't had one down here in a little while. So reach out. And as Kerry says, they were glad we had 2 courses this spring, which was great. We've managed to somehow get through this season so far without having to skip any games. I don't think we've had some help from Georgia. We've had a lot of refs out, with concerns about COVID and injuries, etc. So it's been a long season, but we've managed to get through it. Hopefully next season we'll have a nice flood of referees coming from these 2 courses. Thanks, Patch.
We're going to have you back because we have things in mind for referees to contribute in this podcast for the greater good.
Definitely.
Thanks,
Patch. Appreciate it. I know Roy's watching our president. Thanks for him organizing this.
Saludos,
see you, Patch.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
All right, so I'm going to be putting these referees in the system tomorrow, so hopefully we'll get them out there. I know I'd like to start them off with the U14s and U16s, but we don't have a ton of those 2 games. As Roy says, as soon as we have enough interest, we're going to hold one in the South. So reach out to Roy or to me or to Charlie, however you like, and say we'd like a referee course down here. I have 5 or 8 people that would take
Ross,
the course.
Sounds a little bit creepy. Like I'm going to put them in the system, and then like on the other side,
in the system,
that they're going to come out reffing like right away.
And there's Kerry, I've got a space for you. Once COVID gets over with, I've got a space for you. Don't worry about that. All right, let's get enough of the refs. I didn't even ref this. I got away without reffing this weekend, which was a nice. My hip groin needed a break I'll be back out there this weekend, I think. But let's get to our first game of the week. How many do we have this week, Charlie? Just the 2, which I think is a good number. We're going to have some other video and perhaps some other people joining us as well. But our first game of the week was obviously the big one between Boca and Miami Tridents. I'm going to call it the proper thing, Charlie. The premier division matchup.
Yeah,
not D2.
I don't do that.
I know you do. You and I have discussions about this. The D2 matchup between Boca and Miami, the two strongest teams in that division over the last 5 years, I would say. No disrespect to Naples, they've always been in the mix as well, but a little bit before that. But Boca and Tridents met up this weekend. So who do we have in here, Charlie? Bring some people in. I know we have Ale Hakim from Boca Raton.
Okay.
The head coach, who we weren't sure Ale was going to be able to join us this evening. We'll get to that in a second.
Hi,
but Ale is here, coming off a very tight loss to a game of 2 halves. We'll get to the game in a second, but we also have some guests from the Miami Tridents.
Well, let's bring in all the Boca guys.
Another Boca guy first, yeah. The MVP of the game, Michael Kirk. Michael, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
And then we have from Miami Tridents, President Jose Bermudez, who's muted right now. There he is. And we have Callum.
Audio. You have to get better audio, Jose. Come on, man.
And we also
I'll send you my old mic now that I got this one.
We also have from the Tridents their captain, Callum Windsor, who I want to blame his parents for not being able to spell his first or last name correctly, but that's okay.
Australian, we actually say Calum, not Callum. And,
Calum?
Yeah, mate, because we see the A's.
Interesting.
Australia. And then the Queen took the D out of my name when they sent us as a country to Australia. So, hence
I learned something today. You learn something on this episode on every week. It's not usually something useful, but today it is. When you go to Australia, I know not to call anybody Callum. All right, let's roll the highlights, Charlie. Let's take a look at this game. We'll talk to the Tridents guys first, because first half was mostly Miami Tridents, especially dominating in the scrum, as we see Tom Champ blow the whistle to start things off. Congratulations, Tom, for finally wearing long socks.
Hey,
referee again. Round of applause for Tom.
Yeah,
he finally stopped wearing his business socks and pulled socks up, but he did not tuck his shirt in.
Well, he almost forgot his whistle. I don't know if he told you that.
Well, he forgot his shoes last week.
Oh, what
had to ref in like boat shoes. As we see the turnover there, and the first points of the game actually went to Boca, as Mark, one of our friends of the pod, is commenting on the scrum, which we'll get to in a second. Boca did take an early 3-0 lead here at Don Estridge Middle. Boca short 3. I'm going to say 3 starters. We'll get to that in a second due to varying reasons, or 4 if you can't count that Teddy Chapman, that potential sponsor of ours. But here was the scrum issue started early for Boca, and Tridents took advantage of it with some 5-meter scrums driving over one there. The conversion here by who's kicking for you guys here, Callum?
It's Fede, our 10.
Where's he from?
Argentina.
Argentina. We got a French scrum half?
This one is, I think he's also an RG.
Oh, RG's everywhere. It is the 305, so that makes sense. And who's your 8-man here that scored at least?
That's one of our longtime veteran players, Flip, as known to the boys.
It was an early birthday present for him in the first half. He was just getting shoved over, taking advantage of a powerful front 5.
I feel like give him a bit of a rap, but he's like, mate, those scrum tries, I did nothing. It's a team try. So, but there's
another one. It was getting a bit out of hand in the first half. I was getting reports as I was watching softball. I was getting reports on this game, and it looked like things were going to get out of hand at the halftime. But Boca.
Well, then we gave him a chance and switched all our players out.
You're only allowed 8 subs, Calum, so I know that's not the case.
That's all the forwards, isn't it?
Here's another. This is true. Here's another. I think that's the 4th pushover try in the first half for the Men in Black.
Man, what a legend! Look at him.
So yeah, Tridents with I think it was 28 to 3 lead at the half, and things were getting ugly. But then Boca came in the second half, and Ayo, what changed in the second half here for you guys?
We stopped trying to argue with the ref and started just playing rugby.
Yeah, we didn't see. I kept asking my dad, who was giving me updates, what was leading to 5-meter scrums, and he said it was just ill discipline at the breakdown, which obviously we only have time really for the scoring highlights here in this game. But yeah, there was some ill discipline in the first half. Started not competing at the rucks. Another try off the top of the line out here. This was a great little run. It was a completely broken play there, clearly. And who's this gentleman with the wheels with Ale?
Yeah, he's fast.
That's Keslet Metro. He's been playing with us for about 3 years, off and on.
That was a great little move there because it was a completely busted play, and he turned that into a try.
It was actually a set move. Didn't look very set, but
it didn't look very set. Yeah, it was definitely a bit of a mess, but he turned it into a nice try. And here's another one as Boca continued the comeback and perhaps thought it was winning one of the best comebacks of the season. And it unfortunately just fell short. And here's the end of the game as Trident's kick to touch. Did he tap the ball before that kick? I'm not sure if he did. Either way, because you'd have to tap it now before you kick it into touch to finish the game. But either way, Trident's with the win, 28-24. And I'm sure we may see a rematch of this one in the playoffs. Jose, were you at this game?
Oh, absolutely. And I had
give us your report.
It was a game that we're looking forward to all season. Unfortunately, in the beginning of the season, we had to suspend one of the games because of a breakout that Boca had of COVID. Yep. So we were waiting for it all season long. Luckily, I want to give a shout out to Palm Beach that gave us a prep game before we had a friendly against them. Really got us our headset in the right place. We had come from a big win against Miami, and emotions were right, and certainly the team showed it in the first half. I mean, we had as the season progresses, we get more guys getting involved in the season and getting back. We had some guys that were not vaccinated or were afraid of contacting COVID, but it was great to have our 3 South Florida Panther guys, Miggy, Herman, and Callum back into full force in our pack, and I think that certainly showed it in the scrum. I mean, we made a shift and we put Big Phil at number 8, and certainly that was a great call by our coach Dimitri, and it showed by the 4 tries that he scored in the first half, and it was great. I mean, we made a shift in one of our flankers. We brought one of our wingers, Hiroshi Otani, and he was tackling machine. Really impressive game. We've had the great pleasure of being flexible with some of our positions, and we're really having some fun. And really, the Boca guys certainly gave us a hell of a match. This is a group that we played very hard year after year, and really, it's not over till the end. And they certainly fought to the very last end. I mean, it was just one kick away from being a tie, and then a different outcome, completely different outcome. So big shout out to Boca guys for a great match, and we certainly hope to see them again. Hopefully, maybe reschedule that lost match if we're able to. But the playoffs are very soon to come, and really difficult to find an adequate time to host that game.
Yeah, we've only got 2 weeks left in the regular season before the playoffs start. I think for you guys, it's either the 3rd or the 10th. Obviously, the 3rd being Easter weekend. I know we do have a bunch of games that weekend as well as Tropical 7. But talk a little. You mentioned something that was interesting about players starting to come back from COVID. How many did you have sort of out at the start of the season due to concerns? And are they starting to slowly come back as they get the vaccine?
For some weird reason, it was our forward pack that was a little bit hesitant to come back. I guess for the overweight guys, COVID is a little bit, it attacks them differently. But we had to make some shifts. And early in the season against Palm Beach, we were missing actually just about our entire front pack. I think Callum was the only member that was returning from our last year's starting 8. So that certainly. We had to make some significant changes, and we have been making some adjustments throughout the season, and luckily we have some guys coming back and they're healthy and they're vaccinated, and we don't have to worry about those things.
Well, let's go over to the Boca side before we get back to Calum. Ale, talk a bit about this game and sort of the first half struggles you had in the scrum and just how you felt this game went. I know you were missing, a few starters, just like Tridents were early in the season against Palm Beach, but you guys fought back well in the second half. You mentioned a bit of the changes earlier, but give me a sort of more overview of the game as a whole.
Yeah, I felt like the first half, our discipline killed us 100%. Like we were giving up ball right on the 5-meter line, and they took full advantage of it, and as they should. We didn't take advantage of our opportunities, say in their half, and it showed there as well. And then when we actually switched on and kind of upped our discipline and upped our, push for things, it really showed in the second half what we could actually do when we're playing rugby rather than arguing with the ref.
Listen, you got to play the ref. We try to mix it up as much as we can. Every ref's going to ref the breakdown differently, and you got to sort of get used to that and adjust as the first half goes on. Talk about your MVP here, Mr. Kirk. We can bring up Charlie. Talk a bit about what this gentleman's brought to the team.
Oh, he's just brought a sense of leadership. You know, he comes from a culture of rugby in Ireland and has brought it to the club and has kind of meshed in and has showed his leadership in every game he's played in, and especially on Saturday. You saw him take control of the pack and push them forward.
Yeah, Charlie, bring Michael up. Michael, can you give us a bit of your rugby background and how you ended up in Florida and how you're adjusting to Florida rugby?
So, I mean, I played since I was P3. I think that's like 7 or 8 years old, because you either play that or soccer, as you guys call it, or these guys call it. I played rugby. I was a hooker in my mini rugby days, and I moved to 7 throughout school, and then for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been playing wing home club in Ballyclare.
Okay.
Had a stint for the Ulster Juniors, which is like the club representative side. Yeah. And then my girlfriend lives over here. She came over to Ireland to live a few times. It's far too cold, so I compromised.
Yes.
Now I'm here studying, working, and playing rugby. So we're up in Lake Worth. So I went for the best rugby side that was closest. And
there you go.
And also a side that shared a lot of the same beliefs is back home and do stuff in the community and stuff like that. So I arrived in Boca and it was a great choice. So, but I'm back playing 7 now after years out. So it's fun. It's hard to get used to again. It's a lot of running around that I forgot, and especially in that. I'm not used to that heat. I remember the first game we went out pre-season, the first 10 minutes, I thought I was going to die. Come off the field, trying to hit every rock and wasn't managing my game. And so it's just hard to get used to that. But
yeah, well, other than the heat and the lack of clubhouses in Florida, what has sort of been the biggest shock to the rugby system for you coming over here?
The grind,
or a surprise. Well, yeah, the pitches is another thing.
Very hard. I come off every week. I had turf toe there after the 10s tournament, and every week it burns up and down my legs and my arms that are very sensitive. Here that seems to be, there's a lot of, as I like to call them, athletes. Maybe lack the rugby sort of awareness, because there a lot of people are coming from the football background, so some people are absolute flying machines. They've got their 6-packs and they're built in the gym, but they may lack that rugby awareness. So there's a contrast there, and also the how many different countries and backgrounds boys come from. Like back home, we're all from Ballyclare, we're all from the one town, not even the one country, we're all from the one town. So it's interesting playing against these guys, or playing with these guys who some of them don't even speak English. It was on Saturday. I was calling the lineouts because Teddy was away, and we have a guy, Francisco, our second row, comes from Argentina or Chile or something, and he was like, call the lineouts in English, please. I'm like, I'm calling them in English, but he couldn't. He can't understand my accent, so I had to slow it all down for him.
Start speaking with the twang.
Yeah. No, I had to speak an American twang or choose. He says, if I say choose 17, because it's very, very pronounced and things like that. But it's just brought a whole host of different challenges. Like I'm 26 now, and rugby was, I guess, it's all been the same for me. So it's a whole host of different challenges, and it's enjoyable, and it's a learning curve, and it's really pushed me on.
Good stuff. Well, as you appeared to be talking about Callum just a minute ago, it does speak English, but let's bring Calum back in here. Calum, talk a bit about this Trident squad this year and your time with them and how things have sort of developed as this. You obviously lost that opener to Palm Beach. You guys were a little short-handed, but where do you feel this team is right now, when you have 2 weeks left to play? You got 1 game left to play, I think, right? But 2 weeks left, unless you reschedule something. Where do the Tridents stand right now?
I think this season we had a good turnout. Like Jose said, not necessarily with the forwards. I think we had about 2 teams just full of backs. But there's a lot of depth there, which is great. Forwards, we just, we've had trouble getting to the games, to trainings, and, wrapping our head around it. And another thing is, like Michael just mentioned, is the language barrier. Half the teams either from Argentina or South America, and they're just speaking Spanish. And my Spanish is lackluster at best. So, I think that's one thing we have to challenge with. But I think this weekend everyone turned up, and just like everyone said here, is Boca's the game. We look forward to playing them every year, and I think I played my first season with Miami Tridents 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but and then I had a year off because I dislocated my shoulder in Vegas playing for the Florida Sevens. So, and then I was like, I'm never playing again. And then my friend Damien's always like, just come to one training. They're one of our French fullback.
Oh, we know. We know him all right.
I always end up getting back in it. So, I think if we can keep what we did in the first half together, and all the boys turn up, and we've got a great camaraderie. I think our social events are turning up a little bit better as well. The boys are getting together, having barbecues, hitting the beach, and beers. That brings us together more than just the training. But if we do what we did in the second half, I don't know how well we'll last. I think we did the opposite of what Boca did, and we started arguing with the ref, hands in the rucks, getting lazy, and it just, I think we balanced it out in the wrong way by the end, but we started strong. So.
No, it's certainly going to be an interesting finish to the season. You guys, I think, have Miami left to play, Boca with Palm Beach. You'll obviously some seeding, still to be sorted out. Oh, whose dog was that?
That would be mine.
That was Ailes. All right. Well, while we have Caleb on, now most of my guests I know a little bit about. I didn't know much about Caleb, so I did a little bit of internet stalking, as one does. And Charlie,
watch out, mate.
This is the problem. I even asked my wife if she knew who you were, and she said, "Oh, yes." And I said, "Oh, okay." Give us a bit about your background off the field, Caleb.
Mate, I've been modeling since I was like 18 years old in Australia, and then when I finished school, I came over here, and I still model today. I got agencies here in New York and around, whatever. So that's like part-time work for me. I work in commercial real estate, but the modeling stuff's always fun and easy for a day off. In my Speedos somewhere on a beach, sipping some cocktails.
I told Charlie to post some of these photos. Some of them you were wearing even less than. Oh, there we go. Charlie did. There's, I don't know, Caleb, I don't know how you managed to play rugby and not smash that face in. Hopefully nobody watched it.
That's another issue I face. I always end up, my ears get a little cauliflower or a black eye, or I broke my nose, and then I end up having to go to a photo shoot and like, what are you doing? So,
well, listen,
there you go. That's the most important one.
Hey, Calvin, for your OnlyFans account, all proceeds go to the club.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Well, listen, I know the girls used to have Jello wrestling. Maybe some of the men could have some Jello wrestling.
Oh, just
have Kalen roll around in Jello and have the women watching. And I think that would make more money than any fundraiser in rugby history.
Bring him in. Let's go.
Caleb, appreciate you joining us. And Jose, Ayo, you, as I mentioned earlier, you were missing some players this past weekend, and there was a sort of situation that got resolved dating back to Ruggerfest, which some people may have heard about. I know you don't want to say a whole lot about it, but give us an update on that whole situation.
Well, it's all been resolved amicably between us and the union, so the whole situation is now done. And that's
great.
All I want to talk about on that.
There was some suspensions hanging over the club due to what happened at Ruggerfest against a team that we're not sure exactly where they were all from, if they were SIPs or whatever. But yeah, the situation has been sorted out. So Boca will be back to full strength at some point. So I know they're kind of taking some suspensions perhaps into their own hands and taking care of it as a club, which is great to hear. But hopefully we'll be back at full strength. Well, you guys will be back at full strength for the next game against Palm Beach. You're obviously, one of those stronger teams. You guys have been in a very tough division down here. But I'm sure you think that'll help you when it comes to the playoffs, being in this tough division that you've been in down here, where you sort of regionalize things due to COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. The competition between the Tridents and Palm Beach, we probably won't get to play Miami this setup, but we've probably got the best D3 team. I don't want to insult anybody, but we probably have the best D3 team in the state playing in our Division II setup right now. And then, I mean, I see most of the Division II teams that are in competition outside of us playing a lot weaker teams, with maybe the exception of the teams that have to play Brevard up there.
Yeah, Brevard looking very good. We're going to talk to Corky Newman, but I don't see him on there yet. But I know you guys, those that don't know the postseason setup, the D2 teams sort of go one way and the D3 teams go the other way and have their own postseason. So you won't be facing Palm Beach, obviously, in the postseason. But yeah, they should be preparing you guys well, I think, for the playoffs, which will start on April 3rd, as Kerry mentioned earlier, with the sort of wild card, the first round, and then go on from there until the state championships on April 24th, which I don't know if I've heard a location for that yet, but it's supposed to be oh yeah, the wife did mention, Caleb, she did hear that you were a very nice guy as well. Not that really matters after seeing those photos, but she does want to mention that you're a nice guy from everything she heard. So I want to give her a shout out.
It's like, where have I met her before? I'm trying to think about it.
So I don't think she's met you. She has teammates that have met you.
She's lying to you. Trust me, she's lying to you.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time to join us this evening. I'm glad we got this game in finally. I know obviously we mentioned the COVID issue that stopped it happening from earlier in the season, but wish you all the best of luck come the postseason, and hopefully we'll perhaps see a rematch of this matchup in the championship game on the 24th.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks, Ross.
Cheers.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. All right, Charlie, that's a good chat there with the Boca and Tridents guys. I think everybody's just happy to be playing at the moment, right? A lot of people in this country aren't playing rugby. Those are two have been bitter rivals over the last 5 years or so, and it's great to see everybody just enjoying playing and appreciating everybody's effort out there on the field. Game of the week 2. Do we have anybody from Brevard? You're muted, Charlie, so nobody can hear you. That might be a good thing. I don't know what you're saying. So
sometimes it is. Unfortunately, we're not going to have anybody from Brevard.
That's all right, but we do have video from that game.
We do.
Brevard, who had sneaked by Orlando in their first matchup this season. Brevard continuing their undefeated run to start the season. Who are undefeated teams at the moment? Orlando and Tampa women are both undefeated.
Did you see the?
Brevard are undefeated. Naples are there.
Wait,
Sean says Hybrid says bring him in, but he's not here. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Hybrid, you got to click the link. Otherwise, I would bring you in. But yeah, the standings. We're going to get more into the playoff scenarios next week when things will be a little bit clearer after the 20th, because things are still a bit jumbled. But as you can see there, the only undefeated team in senior men, as far as I know, at least in the Premier /D3, is Brevard. The women, obviously, Orlando and Tampa are undefeated. High schools, Naples, undefeated. Do we have anybody undefeated in D4, Charlie? We might. I don't know if Daytona
I don't know. I
lost a game or not. But anyway, Brevard, let's see if we can see the highlights from that game, Charlie.
Yeah, sure.
Hybrid, I don't know where he wants me to bring him in from. He's not in the waiting room.
It's not magic.
Let's take a look at the highlights from Brevard's victory over Orlando. It's a 22-12 victory. You see Brevard in the white and red, and Orlando in the orange shirts with the navy shorts. This Brevard's about to score the first try of the game with referee Kiwi Nevin. Also in white, which I perhaps need to give him some grief about because he's in the same color as the home team. Here's a hint for referees. Don't wear white because most teams wear white. Hybrid's complained that his browser is blocking it. Hybrid, get in on your phone, even if we get you in on audio. We saw a recent game where somebody decided to kick to Brevard, and it wasn't a very good idea. And here it is again, a team deciding to kick to Brevard. Lovely dish off there. It looks like Dwayne Parks with the try. Oh, no, he didn't. He flipped it back inside. Yeah, Brevard undefeated. Their closest match was previously against Orlando. They won that one 7-6 in Orlando. This one was not quite as close. It was a 10-point victory in the end for Brevard. Orlando made a game of it, though. They were down 2 tries, as you can see the sand kicking up on this field. Nice break down the right wing there by the men in orange. Get it wide, son. Get it wide. They're trying. We'll see if Hybrid can come on. As Kerry said, yeah, don't kick to Dwayne Parks. That man, once he starts getting running, he's hard to stop. So Orlando right back in the game with that try, get it to 2-1, and they got it even closer here. Orlando may still end up with a home game in the first round of the playoffs. Their only losses so far have come to Brevard. They beat Gainesville and they also beat Jacksonville. So Orlando.
What do you think? What do you think if Brevard plays, any of the top D2 teams?
Well,
I gave Sean Pruger a challenge because he really likes to brag about the record of Brevard. So I said, hey, listen, once you win your because I don't know if everybody knows exactly how this works, but once we're done with the regular games,
yes, they split off.
They split off D3 and D3.
Oh, there he is.
Look at this guy. Okay.
Let's bring him in. He's on the phone.
Good. Hey, we like that, man. We like that. Spontaneous thing. You don't have to shower to show up.
Welcome to.
I'm in Orlando with the family right now. They're inside ordering Asian food. Well, gonna catch me out for doing this.
I was just telling Ross about that challenge I gave you. That once you guys win your D3 championship, you should the week after go and play the champion of D2 and see what happens. Huh?
Yeah, no, we were actually talking about that after our match, and our guys are our guys want to make that happen. Like we would love for that to be the case because we feel like we can, go toe to toe with most guys. We've got a lot of new guys that are, really talented, but just need to learn the sport a little bit better. And I think we can hang with them.
Well, yeah, talk about where this team is, Hybrid. You've been involved with this team for a number of years now. What's so special about this team this year? I know you guys were obviously really strong last year as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've always had good players and whatnot, and we got guys that play for the high performance sevens, and I mean we got like 6 guys that play for that squad right now, and we've always had talent, but it's been disorganized, and it's been kind of more like a social team and whatnot, and there's been a few of us keeping the energy alive, but the couple of us that have been keeping the motor running, and then Mick was like kind of like the final key of what we needed to get everything organized and actually put in motion a structure that we could follow and a game plan that was repetitive enough to where we could get it down and we're not haphazard every week, so now we got, kind of a regiment that we can follow along with and everybody's been able to buy into it and it's been positive, man.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have sort of lived in the shadows a little bit of Gainesville, and you've come close to beating them or Palm Beach in the semis over the years. But is this the year that Brevard goes all the way?
I feel like it really could be, man. Like in the past, like I said, it's that social club mentality. I remember 2 years ago we were supposed to play. We were playing Gainesville in the first round of the playoffs, and we have 2 of our starters who are really impact players got drunk on the Friday night before the playoffs and showed up late because there was traffic in Orlando on the way to Gainesville. So they didn't even get to play till the second half. And they were a key wing and our hooker. And so now we're putting in a hooker that's untrained and whatnot. And it's like every year it's this kind of stuff, And so this year, man, everybody's bought in. We got 30 guys coming to training. You know what I mean? A lot of new guys. We got guys ready to fill in. Dudes on the bench that are just as qualified as the guys in the match. So I really do think we can go this year as long as we keep it together.
I look forward to seeing these playoff matchups. The D3's got, again, these the 3 stronger teams, you, Palm Beach, and normally Gainesville, but they've struggled for numbers this year. So I think you and Palm Beach, I could like to see that matchup in the championship game. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gainesville forfeited against us at their home. So, I don't know what's going on there. And then they played Orlando and Jacksonville on the road. But then we didn't get a match at their home. So I don't know, man. It's a weird thing.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, keep it up. I know, as I said, our sponsor, Mick Graham's had a big impact on you guys up there. And it all starts at the top. It all starts at the top with a lot of these clubs. So
I want to really apologize to the president because I didn't double check. I just sent him, he probably, you always have to check and make sure people get the links. I thought he had it, and it was a little bit crazy today. I mean, Mick.
Yeah, he's in Tennessee. He was waiting on it, though.
Well, we'll get it next week.
We'll have him on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perhaps once you get to the final. But again, Sean, our hybrid, as everybody knows him, as appreciate you joining us tonight. Get back to your family.
I'm not sure we're having hybrid again. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, you better have me again, god dang it. I'll bring the heat, man. I'll go up against Vassal or any of them cats, man, that want the heat.
Hey, Vassal's late today.
Listen, if he keeps providing highlights, we're begging for highlights for some of these northern teams. So if Sean keeps providing the highlights, we're going to have him on.
Hey, good
job,
most
man. Definitely, man. Most definitely. I'll keep up with it, man. I love what you guys are doing, man. Appreciate you shining the light and keeping everybody informed, man. It's super dope. I appreciate it.
Cheers. We're having fun doing it. Appreciate you, Hybrid.
Most definitely. Catch y'all later.
Enjoy your evening in Orlando.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Much love. Later, guys.
Cheers. All right.
Well,
those are our games of the week. Great to talk to Hybrid there. Again, Brevard on a roll. As you mentioned, Charlie, I think a couple of episodes ago, they didn't lose last season either in the short campaign we have. So they've been sort of creeping up. Yeah. And if we can get a Brevard Palm Beach matchup in that D3 championship game on April 24th, I think there'll be a lot of eyes on that game for sure. All right. What are we? Well, let's get to your copy stuff, Charlie, shall we?
Okay. Yes.
So our copy hosted, I think how many games do we have, Charlie, on Saturday there in Weston?
There was, you had all the little kids stuff, which I'm gonna.
So 10s, 12s, 14s, and then
no, it's 8.
8s. I forget the 8s. Yes.
Which is great. And then we had the 14s. They played 2 games because they played like the league game and then a friendly, so they get to play.
Yeah.
And we had the U16s. We had the men's play before the high school, because the high school needed to start a little bit later.
Yeah, they had some testing, I think, in the morning, so they had to push their game back.
And then they played the U19s, the final game.
And the U19s game was a fun. Just as Okapi Key Biscayne is always one of the most fun U19s games out there, and this one was no different.
Well, let me tell you, overall, I mean, it was such a beautiful day because. It's like you're surrounded in rugby. Unfortunately, what we did miss was, of course, the churrasco and that kind of stuff, which is really awesome.
I do miss that on the bread, on the sandwich. Yes. Well, let's get to what we got here, Charlie. You put together a little.
Yeah, I'm just gonna roll a little bit of this and
scene set stuff. Yes.
Sure. I'm trying to get somebody from at least Key Biscayne to come in. I must.
Yeah, if anybody from Okapi or Key Biscayne wants to join us and talk about this,
I know some of the guys have. There are some like Zoom meetings going on over there at Okapi. So the big wigs were busy. They may come in later, but we may get one of the Key Biscayne, Lucas. It's been a weird day today. Like we missed everybody. Everybody's late. They're not responding.
That's all right. It happens. Here's some highlights from the 10s and 12s, and get to the 14s in a little bit here. But it's great to see. This is because when you get these kids coming to 19s with 10 years of rugby under their belt.
Yeah, those little ones are so funny because they're so they run all together all the time.
It's like a pack of,
and they're all distracted. They know, the coaches have to tell them, okay, now, and so then they go.
Yes.
So here we have. So that was pretty nice. Then we have we have Lucas here. So let's say hi to him and maybe we
do have Lucas. Lucas is almost a regular on the show now. He's always around. He's got the best hair. He's got the best hair in the game.
I don't know about. Hey, what about Callum, man? Come on.
Well, yeah, Callum does have great hair too, but I think Lucas has got him beat in the hair department. Well, so we're going to get to these U19 highlights first. Lucas, you've been around for a few years now.
Thank you, Lucas, because he was at the gym and I just texted him, "Hey, come on," and he was
good man.
To stop his workout, and so
well, Lucas,
very much.
Yeah, you've been a part of a number of these sort of rivalry matchups with Okapi. With the heavy Argentinian flavor of both teams. Talk about what this matchup means to you and the clubs before we get into the Saturday's game.
Yeah, I think Okapi has always been like Key Biscayne rivals. I remember being like 7 years old and like we didn't even play full field, just a small field, and looking forward to playing Okapi. And they have a great team. They historically they have a really strong team, and it's always great to play them, and it's really good rugby, honestly. And this game, it could be like one of the last times we play Okapi, and it's always a game that I'm looking forward to, and I was really excited to play. And in all honesty, I'm really proud of the boys, and Okapi played great, so did Key Biscayne, and it was honestly a great match and great rugby overall on both sides.
Yeah, here we are with the highlights now. And in orange there, we call him a new referee, Kyle Van de Venture. He was playing for Naples. I think he'd refereed previously in South Africa and decided he wanted to get back with the whistle, so stopped playing for now, and he's a great young upcoming ref, as we see the first try there by Key Biscayne. So Key Biscayne with the early lead. But it wasn't to last. Actually, you guys got off to a great start, right? Lucas, you guys were up at the half.
Got to a great start, and then towards the second half, Okapi, like, they turned over the game, and I think we need to focus on those few mistakes. But like, there's nothing to regret, honestly, in the game, and both teams played excellent, and we left it all on the field.
Maybe a couple of conversions you missed. You
yeah.
don't regret those.
Yeah.
Even one would have,
Don't remind him of that, Charlie. As long as he makes them in the playoffs, that's all that matters.
Well, honestly, it wasn't my best kicking, but I'm practicing now, just trying to find some posts, because there's no posts to kick to here in the Key. So
you just got to make some of your own. And obviously, two of the best fly halves. Charlie, you'll have to remember, or Lucas will have to remind me of the Okapi fly half's name, has also been on.
Pierce.
I've been playing. I would have liked to get him, but I didn't have his number with me. So
yeah, I've been playing with and against Pierce for years, and he's a great player. I always look forward to playing against him in Okapi.
He's going off to play. Where did we say? Georgia, right? University of Georgia. The lefty, one lefty and one righty.
Yeah.
So the halftime score. You guys were up by a couple of tries, right?
Yeah, I believe it was 17-7.
Yeah.
And then we got a kick, so that it was 20-7, and then Okapi got the lead. But we're looking forward to meeting them again in the playoffs, hopefully.
Hopefully. Did you watch any of the 16s game, Lucas? I don't know how much of the 16s game you watched, but
no, I did not watch. But I heard Okapi won.
Well, this Okapi 16s team. You're a senior now, so I'll be glad you're not playing against some of these 16 boys that are coming up next year. There was some big boys on both teams. Even your Key Biscayne team had a huge lad.
Let's bring this guy in.
Let's bring CV in. We'll get to that Boca Gibbons debacle in a minute.
Hey guys, what's happening? Lucas.
I saw you were getting too comfortable, so I said let's bring him in because he's with his drink there, chilling.
Who's got stuff in the background? Is that you, Vassal? Oh, now I can't hear anymore. But yeah, this was the winning kick here, right? I think.
Yes.
Pierce slotting the left-footed kick to give Okapi the victory.
No, it was not. Oh yes, it was.
That was the last game, but this is the kick, the touch that finishes things. So Okapi with the 21-20 victory. So they would
hard it went, to the other neighborhood.
21-20. So that kick was the win. If he'd missed that kick, Key Biscayne would have come away with the victory. But Lucas, another loss for you guys. But you guys are still hanging in there. Got a chance of a home playoff. How are you guys feeling after that game? It's a couple of close losses for you guys.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign that all of our losses were close losses. It really shows like the potential that our team has, and now the only thing we can really focus on is improving. And I think it's those little mistakes that really get to us. So we're practicing extra hard. We play Gibbons this week, and I know they're a very strong team, very physical team, and well, we're hoping to win that game, and we're practicing. Our practices just keep getting better, honestly. And it's just fixing up those little mistakes, and I'm looking forward to the playoffs with optimism, I'd say. But
listen, Charlie and I talk about this every week, just how wide open this U19 division is. You think one team's on top, and then they lose a game or tie a game, as Chris's Boca Buccaneers did this past weekend. And obviously Naples is the only undefeated team. They didn't play this weekend, but I think the title's still wide open. Anybody could take home this U19 title.
Listen, before you can hang around if you want, Lucas, but I do want to bring this picture onto the screen because there was a moment at the, of course, all day long it was very nice rugby in all the games, even the men's game. There was no issues. That's how it's meant to be, right? But I did see at the end of this game that you guys, Key Biscayne kids, they were like the game was over, and some of them were like thrown on the floor, like they were really in big distraught, right? So I noticed that once the game was done, you guys stayed like in your circle for like 5 minutes, or I don't know, for a long time, which just showed how much the loss meant, I guess. I don't know what you guys were talking about. That is all, of course, something that is just between you guys. But at the same time, all the I'm gonna put this that's a picture. See, all the Okapi kids were just, and coaches waiting very patiently. I think it was such a nice thing to be looking at, because
it showed
so much respect, and because in other sports, if you win, screw the loser. It's you don't care. And in this sport that we love so much, and this is the reason, because this you will not see in any, I don't know if there's any, maybe there is, I don't know. I'm not saying that rugby is the best sport, but it is.
It is.
But
it is.
But this for me personally, I was there. I was, after 7 hours of taping all day long, just to see this, man, for me it was so beautiful,
No, it was a great,
and I just
great
wanted
to
acknowledge that to the Okapi kids and to you guys, because you took your time. And hopefully we'll have another game of these, maybe with a 1 point difference on you keep practicing your kicks.
I will.
Don't make him feel any worse than he already feels, Charlie. Come on.
Yeah.
I can assure you I will.
There you go, Lucas.
Oh,
His
sorry.
dad says that, yeah, so much promise. Yeah, with these kids coming through, and Okapi and Makibis getting two of the biggest clubs in the state, going all the way down to U8s. And Charlie, you want to show some more highlights, Charlie, of the kids while we've got?
Yeah, let's see a little bit of that, because we have so much video. Unfortunately, I'm doing maybe not enough effort of asking for other teams to send videos or even pictures, because
we do. We beg them every week, Charlie.
I know. So some come, some don't. Of course, I do a lot of video down here in South Florida, so we're lucky to have that. These are the U14s from Key Biscayne, which is a very nice team.
So yeah, the U14s play across the pitch, as you can see there. This is the last age group that they play across the pitch. 16s. So when you start playing full field,
they definitely need more space, these kids. And we also going to have one of the coaches from Key Biscayne, Nani, but he had like a little emergency and could not come. Well, a
nice pass there.
Today was a little bit
nice finish too. Oh yeah,
that's good stuff.
With the reach over the try line, you see Key Biscayne in the blue, and Okapi in the black and pink, as always.
Oh, I have a picture to show. Now you speak of the shirt.
So Key Biscayne handled this one pretty easily, right, Charlie, on the 14 side of things?
I believe it was 6 tries to 3.
6 straight, that's right. And then
yeah,
we'll get to the 16s in a second. And as well as the men, the men took on SoFlo, and poor Charlie. I mean, not Charlie, excuse me. Poor Pat O'Donnell came over from the West Coast, and he was going to do 2 games and thanked me because I gave the other game to Kyle, who ended up doing 2 games. And then Pat's game ended up with 92 points. So I think his legs were hurting by the end.
But I talked to him after the game, and he was pretty happy because it was for the most part a very clean game.
Good stuff. Yeah, the biggest thing with these kids is getting them to run straight, right? They always want to try and beat the kids to the outside. There's a big boy there.
That one's running straight.
That one's. When you're a big boy like that, that's all you can do.
That's all you do. Knock down a bunch of bowling ball pins.
Yeah. These. I have to acknowledge.
There's Gavin McLean.
Oh.
I got one of those shirts, and I also got this one. And I'm using this one because that one, to be honest, it didn't fit. So I was
going to say something, Charlie, but I was trying to be nice. You just threw yourself under the bus.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I give it to Valentina, and she'll be wearing it.
There you go.
So let's look a little bit at the U16s.
Now, the 16s, there were some boys in these highlights, though. That boy is U16.
The thing with the U16s, as we were commenting, that there are just these 2 teams, basically. and Okapi has like a very strong team. They did have a few kids from Wellington coming down to. You're gonna see Alan on the
Oh, okay.
sidelines.
That's good.
Oh, they played in that U16.
Yeah.
Okay.
They brought some meat, to put it somewhere. You know?
I got you.
Some big boys for the front row.
Country boy meat. Although they're both from out west in there. There's a little more country in Wellington than there is
But
in
this
Western.
was like an 80 points to, I don't know, 0, I think. I don't know if they scored. To be honest, I don't remember.
Yeah, there's some big lads on this Okapi side.
Good kickers, man.
So, Chris, while I've got you here, Jaguares, what are we looking at for the off-season with Jaguares and representative rugby?
Well, today they had a phone call and a meeting. I wasn't on there because I had to work late. So I'm going to catch up with Mariano and Alan. But for right now, we're still moving forward, getting all the teams from North and South involved for the coaches to make their selections and nominations. And, bring it to the Jaguares team, and then we're going to have tryouts once championship's over, and a nice little camp walkthrough a week before heading up to Atlanta. So
May 15th. Yeah, but looking at having 16s and 19s or just
16s and 19s.
And don't you have 14s also?
No, not for this go around, but usually we do. But for right now, we're just focusing on 16s and 19s. And if Mariano's watching and want to comment, please do. I missed out the meeting today.
He's never going to come on. Charlie and I have this discussion all the time that we need to get Gallo on. This is Mariano Gallo, sort of the godfather of Western rugby.
That's right.
Okapi rugby, and we just don't think he'll ever come on. Maybe one day. Maybe one day he'll change his mind.
Yes.
I'm not going to say anything.
But watching these kids, it's U16s and between all the teams around here, such amazing players right now. The development and where they are today, skill wise, and just rugby knowledge is just amazing. It's just a quick turnaround, and I think Florida is a state growing to be reckoned with for the rugby community for us.
Yeah, that number 15 for Okapi. He ran that first try down the left sideline. Scored another one just now. He's going to be one to keep an eye on.
Yes. Oh, he looks like he's cramping up now.
Is that him on the floor? Yeah. Big tackle there.
Big tackle, man. Look. Oh.
And a nice scoop and score.
Jeez.
Another big boy there. Yeah, Okapi 19s next year are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not sure how many of these kids are going to move up, but
they're doing the right thing, And the one thing I like to say with Key Biscayne and Okapi and the big teams, Wellington, and like ourselves, they're just focused in on the grassroots with the young guys, and as you can see them developing all the way up. I remember Lucas; he used to have short hair. Now look at his long hair, and now I have to look up to him. Which is good, It's just good to see Lucas growing up and just becoming a great player, which is amazing. Good to see.
This is your last year, right, Lucas? U19s?
Sorry?
It's your last year, right?
Yeah, this is my last year.
Oh, wow. Wow, Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you planning on going, Lucas?
No clue yet.
Okay.
Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully by April I'll know. But I'll let you know.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, we all be excited to know.
Chris Vassell, is anybody else coming from Boca?
I talked to Coach Johan. I'm not sure if he's going to dial in.
Nobody dials in, man.
Oh, sorry.
What are you talking about?
Sign it. I'm about to sign it. Let me see if he's going to sign it.
I was going to say, what is this, 1990? Is he coming in? Is he getting his AOL? Is he getting his AOL disc out and putting it in his computer?
He's on dial-up.
A lot of tries in this game. Charlie, we're going to be here till 10 p.m. with all the tries.
Yeah. Let's go with the last game from this.
Because I know the men's game had a lot of tries too.
Long day. Yeah, we'll just go over a little bit and there you go.
With the fade kick there, you don't see that too often these days. The old fade kick. Few of the internationals use it, and there's the end of the game there. Okapi with the one-sided victory at the U16s. But let's get to the men's team, which was Okapi D4 Okapi against. That's all right.
No.
D4 Okapi against SoFlo.
There you go.
Who they haven't managed to play a home game this season, but they seem to get okay to away games. We had Pink and Black against Pink and Black, but who's that catching that first? That's the rug man to kick the first ball to Gavin.
Man, cool. Respect to Gavin. He played the whole game.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh man, Gavin.
He's probably still in bed.
I was going to say he's probably still feeling it 2 days later, especially with daylight savings. I know Okapi had a bunch of.
Oh, Gavin. Oh, and was he playing wing?
No,
not there. Pat caught it.
He tends to stay on the wing for another reason.
That's because you stay on one side of the pitch, you save your legs, Charlie.
These guys at SoFlo, I'm really proud of them putting in together a good team and working hard to get it going with Ryan and Lance and
they're trying very hard. They've got a big game. I was going to mention earlier. We were talking about athletes. There's a crossover team from Glendale, Colorado, coming into town on the 27th to take on SoFlo.
Okay.
Odell Beckham Jr.'s cousin is apparently on this team, and has been posting about it on the socials. They sort of had this experiment in Glendale where they took athletes from other sports and put them all together to make a rugby team. They played their first game 3 weeks ago, and they beat New Orleans RFC down in New Orleans.
Wow.
Now they're going to come down here on the 27th. So hopefully we hear some more about that from Ryan Forston, president and sort of the man with SoFlo. There's another try there from the men in pink. They do have some of the best jerseys in the state.
Oh man, the best jerseys. I love it.
Yeah, but let me tell you one thing. I agree. But look at the socks, man. They have a socks problem, which ruins everything.
Some black, some pink, some pink and black.
Wait,
who is that right there? That's Titus?
Yeah, I think so.
That's Titus? Good job. There's Lance kicking.
Was Titus playing on the wing? I've seen him play everywhere from flank, 8, wing.
What?
Lance, old Life University alum.
Copy with a kicker with a nice strike there. I think Pat put the hand up there even before it had gone through the post. He was that confident.
There's Lance. Nice handoff. And, a lot of these kids these guys just started playing and picked up the game really well.
Ooh, that's a serious stiff arm there.
Nice stiff arm.
Now, the lines are a little confusing on this pitch. They are playing the white lines.
Yes.
The lines, man.
Or the yellow lines. Yellow lines.
Hey, guys, Lucas has to get back to his gym session.
Lucas, go work out so we can
interrupt. Thank you very much, man. We'll see you
Bye,
around.
guys. Thank you so much.
Lucas, don't you got homework to do?
I got a lot of homework, Coach.
Okay.
I think rugby comes first now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to comment on it.
Hey, bud.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good day.
See you, Lucas.
Cheers, Luke. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, man.
That was nice of him to come.
Good kid.
He's going to the gym so he can get a secondary modeling career like Callum.
Oh, nice. This knock on by SoFlo on the kick.
It seems like these teams are both taking advantage of each other's mistakes.
Yes.
Nice running line there by 13.
It did look like at the end of the first half that SoFlo was going to, run them over in the second half.
Did I see Braulio playing for SoFlo there?
Is Braulio out there?
I think I saw Braulio. I know SoFlo was trying to pick up. There he is, right there in the blue socks. They were trying to pick up a couple of the Fort Lauderdale boys to help fill out the numbers.
Yeah. Well, they've been training with them too, just to get numbers going.
We are in the second half here. Yeah, this game ended up being 51-41 in favor of Okapi. 92 points. No shortage of offense in this game. As we see somebody come off their feet, and Pat got that one right. He was still going to complain about it, but that was a pretty obvious call, sir. There's Braulio with his blue socks standing out even more than everybody else.
So listen.
What was the final on this?
51-41.
Oh, okay.
Reading myself. 51-41. It was a high-scoring game.
We also got some video from your game, Chris.
Okay.
It was a very short video.
Yeah, we had to. We didn't do normal highlights because that would have been 30 seconds. Just 2 tries and 2 kicks.
That's a very rare tie. Who refereed that game? I think it was Mark Martinovich, right?
Yeah.
So yes, Mark did.
he's due to buy fruity drinks for everybody at the next referee social for allowing a tie to happen.
That's a thing.
That's the punishment. It's normally in sevens tournaments, but it does also count for 15s. There's another Okapi try going in. One of the. How many tries do we have in this game, Charlie? You did tell me at some point the total.
I think it was like 17. I don't know.
It was a lot.
Listen, there's one thing that I would love to see on the rugby fields, which is so necessary that is not so necessary in other sports, which is a scoreboard. You know, Boca has one.
Yes.
Rival has one.
Yes.
I'm not sure who else has one. But listen, 20 minutes into the game, nobody knows the score. Nobody.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Hey, listen, it's, these are the things that I think clubs have to every year. Okay, next year we're going to have a scoreboard. Improve, not always the same.
No, 100%. When I get ref down in Freeport, they have a big old wooden scoreboard with the wooden numbers, and they always have somebody willing to help out.
It's really hard to keep the scores in rugby. You're on the sidelines. Nobody knows the score.
Nobody, yes.
Unless there's somebody like taking notes.
No, that's a good point, Charlie. I think some of those guys make those scoreboards. I saw Boca makes them. So they offered us an opportunity that we can, get one from that.
If you want to do something, you do it. You just do it, okay? You do it. I've been managing a club, and when you start your season, you have to have your goals, and you have to look back and look at your season, the last one, and say, okay, we did this good, this not so good, whatever.
Yes.
Now we have to improve. I think that's the attitude, because if not, what happens? 50 years later, we're still the same thing, okay?
Right.
We're just a team, and we can't even have matching socks. Come on. Ross lost
your audio.
And he moved himself.
Oh, yeah, I muted myself. I said, let's get to these Boca Gibbons highlights before I fall asleep.
Hey, Valentina, good evening.
Hey, speaking of Valentina, now that she mentioned Valentina, she on purpose wanted me to show you this this image, because she was I'm not wearing the hat. I actually brought her hat, but she wanted to wear this one.
Speaking of hats.
She wanted to wear this one too much.
Oh, yes.
Because the mom found a goal they had and hat, so she wanted to wear this one to be just like you.
Love it. Thank you, Valentina. That's awesome. Tell us
I put my 401kfl.com hat on, Charlie.
There you go.
I have to go and get mine now. Okay, let's go through these.
Let's get to these other highlights here. The very quick highlights of Boca Gibbons, which finished as a 7-7 game. Chris, talk a little bit about this game, and obviously Gibbons bring the physicality as always.
Yes, Gibbons, you got a team full of athletes, big boys, and they came in there to do work, and that they did. They punched us in the mouth pretty much. We didn't have answers for them on the outside. Defensively, we played very hard, and they just kept us on our back foot the whole, first half. They played at least 20-something minutes in our half, which was, that's a lot of work to do and tiring out. We were hoping, get them on the outside and just play them out there, but we just couldn't break the edge on their defense. We just kept running back in. But, at the end of the day, Cardinal Gibbons came in and played a very good game. They wanted it.
They've only played. This was only their third game of the season. They got off to a late start, but
correct.
They've got a lot of raw talent. And the more and more games these guys play, they're not going to be a team I want to play in the playoffs, especially if I'm a lightweight side.
Exactly. And as you can tell, look at moving the ball outside, recognizing where their space is. We did a good job definitely for smothering him and stealing the ball.
That was a nice poach there.
Very good poach by Aris. And, kicking for out of bounds, by Junior. And so, they just kept us working all day. And I believe they scored on us first.
They did. Down. Yeah, we missed that try, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
7-0.
They got a couple of big boys.
Yes, really good runners, and like you said, it's just going to take some time. Once they keep practicing and keep playing some matches, I understand they have a big match coming up this weekend.
They do. I think I might be refereeing that one.
Key Biscayne, so it'd be good.
Becomes the try here with the penalty just short of the posts, and
yes,
Gibbons just sort of fell asleep a little bit. As you can see, here comes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who takes the quick. It wasn't really a quick tap because the ball was gone, but Gibbons just didn't really get their line set defense set on the right hand side here, and as your little 9 took advantage.
You never turn around.
No, you always face the ball.
Face the ball, and that's something we're teaching. That's a try by Logan Ballinger,
Charlie's favorite Boca player.
Yeah,
that's an inside joke.
Yeah, but that kid, hey, Chris, you guys need to get those videos out to the kids faster because they keep texting me,
Oh, right.
On Instagram. Hey, when is the video ready? I talked to the coach, man. I already sent it to him.
Yeah.
Gibbons had a chance to win this game late here.
Did. They had a good run on us. We didn't play.
A little chantry by their captain who joined us last week. What was his name, Charlie? I'm terrible with names, as you know. This is the problem with being a referee in Florida. Everybody knows you. But I don't know all 30 kids, but Gibbons had a chance to win it right here. Ball
right here. Bobble,
he picked up and just dropped it in and went to touch on the last play of the game. I think that wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the last play of the game. So
if he'd scooped that up, I think he would have walked into the in goal.
Correct.
The 7-7 tie.
7-7 tie. And look, it's a lesson to be learned from our guys. And a well-played game by Cardinal Gibbons. Can't take it away from them. They worked hard this week. They wanted it, last week. And they really put in the work to come out there and play hard. And, as you can tell, just game of inches sometimes. Game of scoop, game of possession, and the score. Congratulations to England against France.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I don't know if Charlie can pull up the standings. Tom, there he goes. Everybody knows the referee. They know who you are. And I was like, hey, guy, I don't know your name. But anyway, Florida Rugby standings at the moment for U19s. You've got 3 teams tied at 16. Naples, who are off until the 27th. Jacksonville and Okapi all have 16 points. And then Boca sitting in 4th at 14. So looking good for a home game for you, Chris, in the first round of the playoffs. And then Wellington, Key Biscayne, and Tampa are all tied at 8, although Wellington do have a game in hand. So they look to perhaps be the favorites to get that. I think Boca sitting in 4th right now would be the last team to be guaranteed a home quarterfinal. And there's Charlie's with the standings there.
Yes, and so we're going to travel not this weekend but next weekend to Sarasota, and definitely have to go out there and do our best against them. Another physical team.
Yeah, so the way it works is in the first round on the 3rd, 7 plays 10 and 8 play 9, and then the 2 winners of those games move on to the quarterfinals.
Gotcha.
on 4-10. And so they would obviously have seed 1 through 4 be guaranteed home games in those quarterfinals. So it's going to be important to finish in those top 4 seeds because otherwise you could potentially be facing you or Wellington or Key Biscayne could be facing a trip to Tampa.
Correct.
They managed to jump up the standings with their last game. So a ton of stuff to happen still.
Yes.
U19s. It's been definitely the most fun competition this year. So I think any one of those top 7 teams could win this competition.
Yes. Someone said, real quick, Ross,
ahead,
Charlie,
Chris.
someone said to me, I was having a conversation, and they said, what's different from last year to now? Why, the standings, the teams getting beat, unexpectedly, thinking that we as Boca would have been at least in the top 2 or in first place. But we talked about it. To be honest, all these young kids are just developed and gotten better and more rugby attuned at this point right now. So you're seeing these kids that have worked their butt off all these years, and now you're seeing the reaps of their benefits on the field. So the competition is just completely all the way up here now across the board, which is amazing.
No, 100%. And some teams, struggled for numbers because of the COVID concerns and parents not wanting their kids to be playing rugby at this time. And I think that's sort of evened out the playing field a little bit as well. But yeah, we're looking forward to U19s from here on out. Charlie, let's take a look. Again, only 2 weeks left in the regular season for all teams. Everybody finishes on the 27th. Charlie, let's take a quick look at our scores from this past weekend.
Yes.
Before I do that, I want to mention again, I'm wearing the hat now. So I want to mention again that if you have a 401k or want a 401k, Chris, do you have a 401k?
No, I need to get. Oh, yes, I do have a 401k with my company. Yes.
Yeah, so I think perhaps you should reach out to Mick Graham.
Okay.
Of 401kfl.com and see where he can help you out to maximize your 401kfl. They have the experience there to tackle your retirement. I know, Chris, you're close to retirement. So visit 401kfl.com to kick things off. But let's take a look at our scores. I'm not going to read them all because some of them were pretty one-sided.
I just want to get close and personal.
Tampa and Naples continue to play well this season. They took care of business against their D3 opponents. We talked about Brevard. Jacks knocked over struggling Gainesville. What else are we going to talk about here? Let's take a look as I scroll down. Tampa women, 95-0 over Indian River. Tampa and Orlando continue to lead the way on the women's side of things. And I think they will match up coming up soon. I think on the 27th, so 2 weeks before that game is happening, which should decide the number 1 or 2 seed, which could be crucial because I think some teams want to avoid Fort Miami because they're only going to get better as the season goes on. And Jacksonville are no pushovers either. We saw Miami Rugby play a little friendly against Palm Beach. Tampa U19s hanging around for in that final home spot, perhaps, with a 64-25.
Interesting game, Ross. Like almost 100 points. I heard that it was a very well played game from the ref. No problems. So I'm glad about that.
And we also had another tie between Gainesville U23 and Okapi U23, 17 all. Although Charlie has the referee listed there as Francisco Lopez, which I think it was Alfredo Lopez may have been refereeing that game.
No, Alfredo Lopez. No. Oh, I don't know. Maybe you screwed it up, Ross.
I don't think Cisco was refereeing, but anyway.
No.
Those are the main scores.
That is Francisco Lopez, Pancho.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I'm thinking. Yes, you're right. So,
yeah, man, come on.
So wait a minute. So Roy did who did the others? Oh, it was Martinovich. Okay.
Roy did the men's game.
That's right. And I take that back. Alfredo was in Tampa. That's right.
Alfredo did the Tampa Cape.
So Pancho, we forgot to mention to him that he owes all the referees free drinks at the next referee social. As the wife's asking it. Yeah, Chris, I did see Greg Shaw Haskins at a softball tournament this weekend. He scares me though. He scares me though, and I'm not sure if he knows who I am. So I didn't say anything, but I did. His daughter does play for the Western Explosion.
Okay.
U14s.
That's correct.
So it's good to see another rugby guy out at the softball event.
Yeah. So you didn't go over there and say hello?
I didn't. I was taking my daughter to the bathroom the second time, and again, he's a scary individual if you don't know who he is. He's a big dude. Yeah, and he was very into watching his daughter play, and I didn't want to interrupt him if he didn't know who I was. So I let him be. But everybody, Greg Shaw Haskin, tell us a bit about Greg, former
life player, played down here in Fort Lauderdale from the beginning, went up to Life, chiropractor down in the area. His son, Chase, plays at Life University currently.
Right.
Yes, Chase, sure.
Chase Shaw Haskin, yeah.
St. Thomas Aquinas, right? And he's up there now and just having a good time. But Greg, great in the communities, is part of the USA Development Committee, and as well as work with Sevens.
He's doing some stuff I know with FAU coming up this summer as well.
and working with FAU with Sevens as well. So another good coach in our backyard.
He's a good dude.
Good dude, yeah, and good resource as well. Yeah.
All right. So let's again, if you. I know we haven't been able to feature Charlie, as we talked about. We haven't been able to feature every club yet on TFRO. But if you send in video of your game or even pictures, we'll be guaranteed to talk about. You would love to have your coaching staff on or a captain. I know there's been some teams we haven't been able to get to yet because they haven't sent us any of those. Rugbyfl.com/upload, right, Charlie?
Yes.
If you have any videos you want to upload after the game or even photos, we'd love to be able to feature every team. I know we haven't got to everybody yet, and we may not get to everybody this season, but if you're willing to send us game tape or video or photos, we'll definitely get you on. So,
and listen, it doesn't have to be like the whole game. You know, if you just have like any decent camera, a little camcorder. I mean, you just have
even
to
with
know
your phone
how to tape. You know, and we don't want to see ants running around because it's like, so But you can get some footage fairly easy, and it would be great.
All right, so Charlie's got next week's games up here on the schedule. Let's take a look at some of the big ones. Panthers, Boca. Obviously, should be an interesting tilt up there at Dyer Park. We've got the second edition of the Miami Derby. Hopefully that one finishes a little closer than the first one, which was, I think, 40-something to nothing.
Yeah.
What else is it? What else jumps out here to you, Charlie? Anything in particular? Jacksonville Fort Miami is an interesting one because the loser of that game will be down on the 4th seed and will be in danger. I know Jacksonville only squeaked by Indian River in the first game. It was a lot closer than most people expected. So the loser of that game could perhaps be in danger of slipping out of the playoffs. Only the top 4 of the 5 women's teams make the semifinals. We've got some U23 matchups, and then Key Biscayne Gibbons, which perhaps I'll be reffing. I know Carpi Cruz is going to be an interesting one here. Tampa will have a long way to travel, but they could make a statement if they come down here and take care of Okapi, especially with a home quarterfinal potentially on the line there.
I just saw on Instagram these guys. Just a little shout out to the guys from Ocala. They're doing a double header on Saturday. They are playing the Gainesville U23s against Tallahassee are going to play at 1 o'clock. And they are playing against the Tallahassee men at 3. So that's a new club that is
nice
doing
little double header there, including the infamous FSU UF rivalry, which I think it just played recently in Gainesville. Gainesville struggling a little bit over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but if there's anybody that can get them turned around, it's Kenny Simmons. This season's a bit of a strange one with everybody dealing with COVID. Did we get any submissions for our rugby memorabilia?
Well, unfortunately, we did not. I thought Ronnie Suarez, was gonna be a man of his word. Although he didn't say anything, but I'm just gonna say, if you have any cool rugby memorabilia, Charlie shared a rugby ball last week, which means a lot to him, signed by a member of the Uruguayan team that ended up in a plane crash in the Andes and was obviously featured in that movie Alive, which if you haven't seen, please go check out that movie. So I'm going to jump in, Charlie. Now, I do have my memorabilia is sort of scattered around the house. My wife says I have way too much of it. But I did manage to scramble I went through my ticket collection. I did manage to, I don't know if you can see this. It's not going to look great because of the green screen.
I see.
It's not actually green, though. But if you can see, it's a World Cup semi-final ticket. I'm going to try and bend it. Let me turn my green screen off, Charlie. Hold on a second.
Just make
sure. Then you'll just see the green screen. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see it here. Okay. There you go. You can see my ticket from the 1999 Rugby World Cup semi-final. Now, Chris, you're definitely old enough, and both Charlie is also old enough to remember. Do you remember the 1999 Rugby World Cup semi-finals? I was lucky enough to attend both. Neither game involved England. That should be a hint.
Australia,
what was
France?
that, Charlie? Are you cheating, or are you just knowing off the top of your head?
No. Australia, France.
Is that France? Is it?
No, Australia was not involved in either. Sorry, Australia did win the first one. Australia defeated South Africa 27-21 on the Saturday. That game featured 0 tries. There was penalties, and you only had to be a drop goal and penalties. And Australia won 27-21 in extra time. It was the second one that was the big semi-final that is memorable for. Do you remember who was in that semi-final? It ended up 43-31.
All Blacks France.
It was All Blacks France, and All Blacks were one of the heaviest favorites, I think, in World Cup semi-final history. And France came back and upset them 43-31 at Twickenham in front of 70,000. It was one of the best games I've ever been to. So that I do have tickets. I do have both tickets for those games. So I thought I'd throw that out there. As you can see there, they're still pretty cool. How much do you think? You can't see it, but how much were tickets for that game, you think?
Back in the day, what, $50?
£100.
Oh, wow.
Back in 1999. I won't tell you how much tickets were for the final this past 2 years ago that I attended. It's insane, but they still fill the stadium every time.
£100? What's that?
$160. Now you're looking at 10 times that for a ticket now for face value for the tickets these days. And obviously, who went on to win the final? Australia did 35-12, which I didn't attend, as it was in Wales. I think my dad went to it. But if you have any cool rugby memorabilia, please send it in. Charlie, where should they send it to? Or just upload a video? Record a video. Talk a bit about your, trying to keep it to a minute. Record a video and put it up at rugbyfl.com/upload, and we'll give us some information about you. Let's share some cool rugby memorabilia, because I don't want Charlie and I to have to go back and forth. Chris, I hope you can come up with something.
I can, actually. I'll send you guys some of those stuff.
Think about it for next week. And your son is not a piece of memorabilia. I'm just gonna
Where is he? Is he doing his homework?
Or your daughters?
He actually was just outside working out, so I just
No,
left him.
was he now? I noticed you weren't with him.
No, I finished early.
Chris only finished. Chris only plays touch from now on.
That's right. Yeah, I worked late tonight, but well, Charlie and Ross, I'm going to get going. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for
we're
always
going to get
doing the
going.
show.
Everybody's going to get going, right,
That's right.
Ross?
As Dad mentioned that we did get those tickets for free because he did work for Guinness back in the day, who were a big
Oh,
sponsor.
no.
He did not pay the £100.
Hey, Ross, that
Well,
back
that's
looks
good.
pretty cool, huh?
What was that?
Your green screen, just as it is, looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm lying on a snooker table or a billiards table.
It brings out the blue in your eyes.
Just hang some billiard balls on here and we can look like a snooker table.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, thank you very much, man, for showing up. Because lately, I don't know, all these guys that used to come, I don't know what's wrong with them.
Yeah, you can use me to fill in anytime,
We're not paying you, right? We're not paying you. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
He's one of the biggest Tifo Fops, friend of the pod, and he's always welcome on. And
thank you so much.
His wife enjoys the hour without him.
That's correct. That is correct. But guys, continue. Thank you so much for what you do in the community. 401k Florida. Thank you guys so much. And as well as thank you all the coaches out there on men and women, high school youth. Keep up the hard work for Florida. Catch you later. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Ross.
man.
Yeah, get back to the game if you can. We need some more old boys to get out there. Yeah, and go all day.
He hasn't called. We
still haven't heard from Teddy.
I'll talk to him.
Charlie, blur him out. Blur him out, Charlie. Do you know how to do that?
There you go.
Can't do that because it's just for you guys.
Bye, Valentina. Thank you for wearing the hat.
All right, guys.
Oh,
We've gone over the hour and a half today, but I think another jam-packed episode with lots of great information, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. Thanks for those that have hung out till the end. I know a lot of people kind of tune out halfway through once they've seen their own highlights, but we appreciate those that hang out till the end. And I think it's time for bed, Charlie. This daylight savings thing is undefeated.
It's weird.
Kick my behind. And I'm ready for bed at 8:43, even though it's really only 7:43.
Okay. Yeah, man. So hopefully next week.
Same time next week.
We'll make up for some people that we screwed up with.
And again, if you're interested in being a game of the week, get your video into us. We'd love to feature some of those teams, especially in the North that we haven't featured yet. Tampa. We did feature Jacksonville U19s. We haven't featured their men's yet. We haven't seen any video from them. Pelicans. Ave Maria. You got a game next week against Okapi. Tom says he only watches the end of the pod. He's a sucker for punishment. I did finally give him a week off on the 27th because he's been a champ and reffing every week. But I told him he couldn't take a week off in April because that's when the playoffs are. So, Tom, great job with the socks. Not so great job with the shirt. We'll get there one step at a time. Charlie, as always, thanks for being my great producer and doing all the hard work in this podcast. All I do is come on and talk, and it's the easy side of things. But we certainly can't do it without you. So appreciate all the hard work, and we'll see you same time next week.
Thank you very much, Ross. Good job as usual, and we'll see everybody next week.
Cheers, guys.
Hasta la vista.